Louisville Slugger Field is a baseball-specific stadium in Louisville, Kentucky. It opened in the year 2000 and has a seating capacity of 13,131. It's currently the home of a professional baseball team named the Louisville Bats. And from 2015 to 2019, it was home to Louisville City FC. Here's the stairs where you go to get into. So Louisville Slugger Stadium broke ground on November 13th, 1998, and it opened on April 12th of 2000. And it ended up costing $40 million, which in today's day and age would be $62 million. And actually, if you just go over these steps right here, there's a former train shed, which used to be on this site, that is behind one of the outfield walls. And it's where some of the Louisville soccer supporters used to stand. You used to be able to see it on the games back in the day when they would play. And also, when you're inside this park, the Ohio River and the state of Indiana are visible, as well as views of downtown. So when Louisville City FC first began play here in 2015, they became the second major tenant here after the Louisville Bats. And when they joined with USL, the USL was actually considered the third division at that point, but the next year they would move up and it would become the second division. So when they technically started, it was in the third division, but then they moved up to the second division when the USL moved to a second division. And in 2019, the club left Louisville Slugger Field for the Lynn Family Stadium. Pretty cool. That's where you would go in to enter the building. Doesn't even really look like a stadium, does it? It actually looks like an old trade station. Little look inside the building. It actually looks like an old train station in there. That's really cool. Somebody that Louisville City can actually thank for the founding of their club, and not solely thank, but one of the people they can thank is Orlando City's franchise. So back in 2014, Orlando City B had the franchise rights, but they gave them to Louisville City, which is one of the reasons why Louisville City's colors are purple. It's to honor or replicate Orlando City's purple. So they took Orlando City's B team spot, their franchising rights, because USL awards certain cities a franchise right. And so Louisville City, one of the benefactors of Orlando City giving theirs away, was Louisville City. In their first season in 2015, the club finished second in the league in points. In the playoffs, they made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals before they fell to the eventual league champions, who were none other than the Rochester Rhinos. The team won 2 matches in the 2015 US Open Cup, and those 2 matches were over Lansing United 1-0 and Indy 11 2-0. But then unfortunately, in the 4th round, they fell to the Chicago Fire in extra time. And then at the beginning of the 2016 season, they ended their affiliation with Orlando City SC. The 2016 campaign was a lot like the 2015 campaign for Louisville City. They placed second overall in the league for the second consecutive season, and they also finished their season by losing in the Eastern Conference Finals again. This time to New York Red Bulls 2, who also would go on to win the championship again. So let's see here, back-to-back years, they finished in second place, lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, and lost to the eventual champions. This time, however, in the US Open Cup, they would only win one game, and that was over my team, Detroit City FC, who they always beat. They beat them last year in the US Open Cup, beat them twice last year in the regular season, and they knocked them out in the 2016 US Open Cup when they beat them in a shootout 3-1 after the game finished 1-1, but then they lost to Indy 11 in the next game 2-1. Here's a better look of the stadium. So then in 2017, they finally broke through. They finished second overall in the league again for the third straight year, but they finished first in the Eastern Conference Finals. They almost were knocked out by New York Red Bulls again, but overcame them in a shootout. And then they ended up beating Swope Park Rangers, who are an affiliate of Sporting KC. And they lifted the trophy right here on this field. I'll never forget the game. I watched it on ESPN. And they fell in the US Open Cup for the third round for the second straight year, this time to their arch rivals, FC Cincinnati. In 2018, the Louisville City's head coach, James O'Connor, who led the team to a 71, 28, and 26 record, as well as wins over the New England Revolution, stepped down as head coach. He was then replaced by the triumvirate of three players: George Davis IV, Paulo Del Piccolo, and Luke Spencer as player coaches. And on August 2nd, 2018, John Hackworth was appointed as the team's second ever head coach. And then unfortunately, their owner, Wayne Estepinial, pardon me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, he unfortunately died in a plane crash on the way from Louisville to Chicago. So 2018 was kind of a turbulent year for the guys. They lost their head coach, hired a new coach, had player coaches, and then unfortunately lost their owner. But they would end the season on a high note by repeating as champions in 2018. They repeated as champions in 2018 after they beat the Phoenix Rising, but not here. It was over at the Louisville campus. They obviously had a scheduling conflict with the baseball team here. You can see the Yum Center where Louisville basketball plays, a little bit of the skyline, and then the bridge that connects Indiana and Kentucky. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's the old, like, where it says Humana Cabana. That's like the old remnants of the train station right there. Beautiful view of the bridge off in the background. So 2019 would see them actually go back to the USL Championship for the third straight year. But this time they unfortunately fell to Real Monarchs, who are the affiliate of Real Salt Lake. And again, it wasn't at this field. They played all their home games at this field, but the final game was at Louisville Cardinal Stadium. So the last games that were ever played here at Louisville Slugger Stadium were in 2019. Their last regular season game was actually a crazy game. They were down 3-0 to Swope Park, the team that they beat for their first title. But they ended up scoring 8 straight goals to win the game 8-3. At the time, they thought it was going to be their last home game, but then they ended up getting a home game in the first round of the playoffs against the Tampa Bay Rowdies, in which they won 2-1, and the final attendance for that game was 4,636. And that was the last time that Louisville City FC played at Louisville Slugger Field. I'm sure a lot like the FC Cincinnati fans with Nippert, I'm sure a lot of Louisville City fans remember Louisville Slugger Field pretty fondly. Hell, they've played 3 seasons at their other stadium, and they haven't been able to make it back to the USL Championship. They won 2 championships here and made another finals appearance. So they haven't been able to replicate the success that they've had here at Louisville Slugger over at Lynn Family Stadium.